All right, Algebra 1, we're getting to some harder things. We're starting to talk about word problems. In Chapter 1, Lesson 7, we have a problem-solving plan, and I actually really like this. Our essential question is, can you use the 5-step plan? So we're going to learn this little 5-step plan to solve word problems over a given domain. If you look on page 27 of your book, you can see that step 1 is read the problem carefully. We can do that. Then, choose a variable and use it with given facts. Now let me give you a huge hint. At this point in time, we are only going to use one variable. So we will have to compare things to that variable when having to write something else. You'll see what I mean. Step 3, reread the problem and write an equation. Remember, an equation has an equal sign in it. Step 4, solve the equation. And step 5, check your results. This is a very important step to check and check and check again. One we forget a lot. Starting with example 1, a board is 17 foot long and a hole is 1 foot farther from one end than it is from the other. How far is the hole from each end of the board? All right, so if you know anything about my teaching, I like to draw an example. So I am going to draw a board. I know that this board is 17 feet long. So from here to here, it is 17 feet. It says a hole is 1 foot farther from one end than it is from the other. So we have two ends, and let's draw a hole. We know it's 1 foot farther from one end than it is from the other. So let's go through step 1. It says, read the problem. Well, the problem asks for the distance of the hole from each end. So let's go ahead and let's let x equal the distance from a distance of the hole from one end. So I know if this is x, this has to be 17 minus x. And this is an important part where I say use one variable. So if the whole thing is 17, and that x was 5, to find the other whole, you would have to use 17 minus 5, which would be 12. 12 and 5 add up to be 17. So that's what we're talking about, using one variable. Moving on, it says step 3, it says reread the problem and write an equation. So let's try to write an equation. A board is 17 foot long. A hole is 1 foot farther from one end than it is from the other. So I know that if this is x, and we have that 1 foot from the other, I know that x plus 1 is equal to 17 minus x. All right, the next thing says to solve. So let's go ahead and solve. And actually in this problem, they give us examples to plug in numbers, but we can solve this. I'm going to bring this x over by adding it. And I get 2x plus 1 is equal to 17. We're going to continue to solve, and I'm going to solve by subtracting 1. 2x is equal to 16. So x is equal to 8. Now, let's see if this makes sense. So remember the next step, say, find the unknown, we found it, and check your results to see if it makes sense. So we found out that x was 8. So if right here, this is 8, 17 minus x has to be 9, correct? Does that make sense that 1 is 1 foot from the other? So the hole has to be 1 foot further from one end than it is from the other. All right, that question was a little hard. Let's try one more. You will have tons of questions like this. Example 2 says 2 numbers have a sum of 44. The larger number is 8 more than the smaller. Find the numbers. So I have a larger number, I have a smaller number. If I call the smaller number x, I know the larger number they said was 8 more than it. And it said together they have a sum. What does sum mean? Good. Sum means I'm going to add them together. And it is going to be the answer to an addition problem. So I know that if I add these together, I get 44. So I like to just add down. What's x plus x? 2x plus 8. And let's solve. A lot of you guys starting in Algebra 1 like to know that the equal sign is our equal sign where things are going to be of equal value. So what I do to one side, I'm going to subtract 8. I have to do to the other. 44 minus 8 is 36. And it looks like x is equal to 18. Now, we also have to remember, did I answer the question? Because this question says, find the numbers. Well, I know the smaller number was 18. The bigger number is 8 more than that. So the two numbers are going to be 18 and 26. So make sure we always answer the question.